Hello and welcome to the Team VVV Racing Game Podcast. I'm Martin Bigg, and joining me today is Kevin Dooley.
Hi guys.
And of course Alan Boyston.
Hello viewers.
Hello. Obviously it's been a little while since we last did this. Much has happened since then. We've had E3, we've had a referendum. Everything's changed.
It has been a world of it, hasn't it? We kick off with some nice negative politics. Just
exactly. The world as we
you
know it.
If you include the football as well, we're out of Europe twice. So
No, we don't talk football.
Oh, what a fantastic week! There we go. What a great way to kick off the podcast.
We don't talk football.
No, we don't talk football. We don't talk politics on here either.
Exactly.
I'm steering well away from that drama.
There we go. The world as we know it has changed forever. What a shame. Going back to more positive news, it's talks of E3 because obviously big event obviously happened since we last did this. I mean, Alan, what was your main racing game highlight? I mean, there weren't an awful lot of racing games on show, in fairness, but
no, actually, I mean, for E3 it was incredibly quiet. I think that there wasn't really much. Well, there wasn't anything that came that surprised us in any way, which was a bit of a shame. I mean, Forza Horizon 3 was predicted. We saw, obviously, we ran the news on the leak on the website this year, set in Australia. It turned out to be true, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think personally, I was very impressed with what they were running there. I think I thought it looked awfully impressive, and I think it really does depend on certain subtleties in the handling and how much fun the map is to actually drive and traverse, and how the new vehicles are going to handle on different surfaces. Obviously, Lamborghinis can go through mud and trees and stuff, but you need that to be fun. As long as they don't handle as well in those circumstances, I don't think they will, because they've got the new buggies and stuff like that. So, I mean, Martin, we spoke about it. I mean, you were saying it's more like MotorStorm, really the sort of approach to it.
Yeah, when I was watching the trailer, that's what I immediately kept thinking of. It has that kind of tropical scenery to it. It reminds me a lot of which one was it? MotorStorm Pacific Rift.
Yeah, and they seem to be concentrating more on the sort of extreme off-roaders this time around, which is one of the new sort of big features. So, yeah, it does take a lot of cues from MotorStorm, which can only be a good thing, I think. It looks like potentially a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it needs to differentiate itself from Forza Motorsport. On the one hand, I think Forza Horizon 1 and 2 were almost like open world Forza Motorsport, and now with this version they're taking it a stage further and embracing the environments more.
Yeah.
So we need vehicles to actually attack those off-road environments, and who knows, maybe that's going to be better for the long term. You might see that they can retain some more realistic physics for the cars, so that you had those physics work when you go off-road more. There's always going to need to be that arcade element.
I was going to say, can we still drive Lamborghinis on beaches?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
we
it's very
can.
much an arcade style of Forza Motorsport, and even Forza Motorsport itself seems to be moving away from the simulation ever since number 2, in my opinion at least. We seem to be getting sort of more and more away from the sort of simulation in the Motorsport series. So, the Horizon is very much sort of arcade stuff.
True, but I think if it was too serious and too sim-focused...
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a place for it, and Horizon is it. I think that's... Yeah. It complements Motorsport well, but it seems that Motorsport is getting closer and closer to Horizon these days, so...
Kevin has just angered lots of Forza Motorsport fans there by telling them that it's not a simulator. For me, as it's well known, I loved Forza's right up to Forza 4. I'm not happy with Forza 5 and 6. I'm not happy with the direction they've taken there, but certainly they're following their style and their journey in terms of their approach to physics. I think Playground seem to have had enough freedom to have split off and created their own franchise, and it was interesting seeing the developer Ralph Fulton on stage at the show instead of Dan Greenwald handling it as well, so giving him the full stage now for the Forza Horizon brand as a sort of standalone brand now. Very interesting. What this means, of course, now is that where Forza 6 was struggling with dynamic weather and couldn't do it, they're obviously going to be looking to the Scorpio now for the next Forza game. So perhaps Forza 7 could be a Scorpio launch title, quite possibly. That would be interesting, and with the extra teraflops there's that to look forward to. So
you've got to love those teraflops.
Gotta love the teraflops. You know, the teraflops. The funny thing is that teraflops. What is a teraflop? It's barely been a word used until now. I mean, nobody talked about teraflops.
I think it's is it 1,000 million flops?
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, the first time I heard it used was actually a university plugged 130 Apple Macs end to end and created these 13 teraflops computer, you know, probably 8 years ago, and it was incredibly powerful at that time. But now, you know, one day you'll have that inside one graphics card. You know, the 1080 NVIDIA 1080 is apparently 8 teraflops. So, I mean, and that kind of raises another little point, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we'll so that's the Forza Horizon. I'm going straight off.
This is getting very techy.
No, Forza Horizon 3. I think Forza Horizon 3 looks pretty good. I think it was definitely the highlight in terms of new racing games being shown. Yeah. Gran Turismo. Where was Gran? Well, basically, I was finding out a bit about that today. It wasn't shown at the press conference apart from a small montage at the end. And
it was a blink of a missing moment, in fairness.
How sad is that? I remember when Drive Club got ignored at the conference, and people, you know, lots of people weren't happy that Drive Club got ignored. Sony was somehow embarrassed at the performance or where it was at that time. I think there's a similar situation here. I think the feedback has been largely negative from the Gran Turismo launch event. I think where they expected to have a new video, they showed nothing. And I was really expecting to see a new circuit, graphical upgrade, something to blow our minds. Perhaps the rally section or something. Nothing was shown.
I was really surprised. For a game that's coming out at the end of this year, you'd expect it to have quite a big showing in Sony's E3 conference for a first-party title. Do they want to sell it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Alan's got a point there. They've had a lot of backlash.
Yeah, true.
I think what they'll do is they'll come out at Gamescom and strong. You know, they'll show something that's going to impress us, but which they probably haven't got at the moment. So it needs more time to sort of polish. But you know, visually, I think the game's come on a little bit since we first saw it. So I think they're making the right strides. It's just a case of they might not have had anything that would really sort of blow us away, and that's why they didn't sort of showcase it at the big stage.
Yeah. Okay, there's an argument, did they show it too early? But on the other hand, it's only got a few months left of development.
Well, exactly. I mean, I saw a NeoGAF thread that said massive improvement, and I looked at it and thought, well, actually, seeing it in gameplay, I couldn't even tell you what was really different. I saw new reflection effects and slightly better frame rate in the replay.
Some nice lighting as well, actually.
Yeah, nice lighting. I mean, nice reflections and stuff like that. But I didn't see anything fundamentally that made it look like a much better game. Yeah. But we'll have to see how things. You know, some games improve a lot, as I've said before in the last few months, right up to launch. You know, you can never really tell how much improvement a game's going to have. I've seen games that were this far ahead, and we thought, oh wow, it's going to look amazing at launch, and it doesn't improve at all. So that's usually milestone stuff, but you know, it's the thing. So yeah, I think Gran Turismo at the moment has huge potential. Either way, we'll cover stacks of it on the channel. So if you're looking forward to that, I'll be on that, and you know, seeing if we can test those cars out, and you know, seeing how good some of the esport drivers are, and they'll probably show me how it's done, but I do look forward to getting back into that.
Yeah, it was interesting because Kazunori recently came out and said that they could have called it Gran Turismo 7. Now, to me, for it to be a proper Gran Turismo, it needs a proper sort of career mode, you know, with your Sunday Cups, your Clubman Cups, and all your championships and whatnot. But it seems as though this GT Sport game is just going to have lots of sort of missions and etiquette stuff, and I don't think we're going to get our cups and our championships, or not a lot of them anyway. So it was interesting to hear him say that we could have called it Gran Turismo 7. Yeah. And in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, it's not a Gran Turismo 7 at all.
No, not at all.
I think we touched on this before. Like, where does it fit into the series? You know, is it a true sequel? Is it a prologue? Is it a spin-off? Is it?
I say it was a spin-off, much like Horizon, but obviously completely different. You know, but you know, it'd be nice to see you know, a proper Gran Turismo 7 next time round, and then perhaps a GT Sport update or maybe a sequel in the future. I don't know if it's going to be continuously updated. Maybe they can just keep it sort of ongoing. But I need my Gran Turismo 7. You know,
it almost seems to me like Gran Turismo Sport's being billed as a platform to build on.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. Maybe we're not going to get a Gran Turismo 7. Maybe they'll just add career mode one day to GT Sport and something like that. I mean, I think certainly GT Sport, they really want to push this esports thing. I don't know where they are polyphony of development. I'm still disappointed by what I've seen and how little there
done
was.
Before, Need for Speed adding manual gears.
Exactly. I mean, fundamental amazingness being added to racing games. I mean, releasing the game without manual gears and was just, it's tragic, isn't it? Really, I mean, real car fans game, and yet it sells millions and has a huge fan base, doesn't it? I mean, really.
I mean, look at F1 2016 career mode. That's a main new selling point of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it should have been something that's there by default. But I mean, with Need for Speed, there's such a big community around it that we'll be very much in the minority by wanting sort of our manual gears and cockpit and stuff. Most people play it probably from the outside car view, which I'm absolutely hopeless at. But that's the market. So they're providing what the market wants, and they're just adding the features that the more sort of hardcore players, if you like, that want afterwards.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean we are a dedicated racing site with a dedicated racing channel, and to be fair, we are in the minority. If we play a racing game, we'll always be in the top 1% of players, and a lot of players, like you say, they'll never manage a clean lap on Forza Motorsport. They just never will. They'll crash off every corner, and then they'll turn it off and play something else. And that's what a lot of players will do on a lot of racing games. They need something that's easy. So a point in case is the new WRC6. We can talk a bit about that. I mean, that was, for me, more impressive than I was expecting visually. Radical upgrade. They've changed just about everything in the game, and I'm really looking forward to it. But being the official WRC game, they need an approachable physics model. And though lots of people would say, I want it to be like Dirt Rally, Dirt Rally, it just won't have the same appeal to such a wide audience as this will. Yeah. And if Codemasters took over the license, then they couldn't make it in quite the same way because they need to sell it to the widest possible audience. So, and you can see, I mean, Codemasters make Formula One every year, and you can see how it drains them as a company and how much they have to water down things like last year, or how much pressure it puts them under in terms of the bugs they've had in Formula One games in the past. I mean, one game had like 14 patches to it, so it's it's a lot of pressure putting out a yearly franchise game, and I think Kiloton at the moment, last year it was okay. It was a fun enough game. I think people had a go at it because the graphics and the sound were a bit crappy, but or very crappy in fact, but the graphics look much better this year. It'll be interesting to see the steps forward made in the physics and the audio, but they seem happy, and I personally was pleased with what I saw. So, what do you guys think of it?
Yeah, I think you have to commend them. They have actually listened to the community feedback, and they do seem to be addressing some of the main issues with it. I feel a little bit sorry for it in that, as much as a bit like Sebastian Loeb, it's kind of collided with Dirt Rally, so therefore, in a lot of people's eyes, Dirt Rally's always set the benchmark, so they're expecting WRC6 to have that same quality, which it won't. But looking at it just completely standalone, I think it looks like a very promising game, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I've just made a video on. I've been playing WRC5, but I have a little chat about WRC6 because I've got to say it impresses me, from what they've told us at least, how much they've worked on. We're talking suspension model damage, engine, tyre models, all sort of new. There's a new country involved as well. We're going to have super special stages, which are replicas of the real world stuff. The usual special stages are still sort of based off the real world stuff, so no replicas there. But we was pretty, we was reasonably impressed with WRC5. We thought it was a good foundation, and we expected obviously improvement, but I don't think any of us expected this much improvement, or at least this much attention to all these different areas. It really does seem like they've not left a single stone unturned with this. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this develops.
Yeah, I think at the moment, obviously they've improved every aspect. They seem to be focusing very heavily on the esports side of things. I think you're going to see a lot more implementation of that. And yeah, I'm just interested to see. Some of the feedback was for some slightly longer stages. I'll be interested to see if we see some of that in the game as well. But no, based on those videos that we saw, and I mean, saying to the viewers at home, I get sent the same videos that you see, so I respond to the same stuff you've seen. So you may have different opinions on it, but do check those videos out if you haven't seen them, and give us your opinions in the comments, because it's always good to see those, and things perhaps you would like to see in the game as well, because if I meet the developers, I always tend to highlight what the audience has seen that they feel is missing and they'd like to see. But I think, as I say, back to the idea of the physics have to be fun, they have to be realistic, but yet at the same time very playable. I guess Colin McRae Rally is a good example of that. It's a rally game that made you feel like a real rally driver. Everything behaved as you felt like it should at that time, and it didn't have to be 100% realistic. And I think that's finding that balance.
I think what's interesting too.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, Kevin.
Okay, one thing we didn't touch on was VR support as well for WRC6. Which again was surprising, and I'd love to be able to see what that's going to be like, because we saw the video at E3 on the show floor, and it looked promising, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, again, the VR support's apparently at a very early stage of development at the moment. It doesn't sound like the VR support will be ready when the game ships initially on any format, but it will be soon after. We're going to get some information from the developers as to when VR support will be added, but it won't be added straight away on any format. So what they're planning on doing, from what I got from it, was they want to finish the game, really focus on making a good game, and then after that the development team will shift on, no doubt, onto improvements and bug fixing, God knows what else. They haven't told me that, but that's what they do these days. And also onto VR support as well, which will be added, and perhaps we'll see other DLC and additions being added this time as well. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that, but I'm expecting it, which is a bit of a shame, because I was looking forward to it to be a launch of PlayStation VR. But
they are developing not only for PlayStation VR but also the Oculus Rift and the HTC. So
that's right. Yeah. So I mean, it would be good across all formats. I think where the PC is concerned, with the Oculus and the Vive, again, that development's at an early stage. You're going to see a lot more games supporting VR, and racing is, as anyone will know, is perfect. I mean, my experience of Project Cars was amazing, because you'd be in the car and you could lean your head out to the window or to the edge and line your eyes up with a corner. It really made a huge difference with the driving experience. So potential is massive. But I would say, with PlayStation VR or any VR headset at the moment, they are slightly pixelated still. So that's still something to think about there. But yes, looking good. So what else is next?
With WRC, I was just going to say one interesting thing too is, I think it's interesting comparing the progress they've made in those two games to what Milestone did with their own WRC series. Like, if you look back at the very first WRC game in 2010, it was pretty shoddy in most areas. And then, if I remember right, the sequel didn't really improve on it much either, whereas WRC 5 to 6 is quite a leap from what we've seen.
I thought 2 to 3 was a big leap for Milestone. Well, visually and bits and pieces.
Yeah,
so 1 and 2 were very similar, weren't they? But 3 seemed like a big step up for me.
I remember it, yeah.
I mean, that was a huge leap at the time, WRC3, and I remember getting early code through and thinking, here we go. Now, I wasn't my feedback was negative, to say the least, on WRC2. I really didn't like it. I quite liked the Australia stage, but it just handled rubbish, and it came out on the same day as Forza Motorsport 4.
Oh, that's not like them, is it?
They always do that.
Yeah, I know. And it's like this year, we had Valentino Rossi, the game, launched during E3. Let's launch it during the biggest game show in the year. And basically, I got this code through and thought, whatever, try it out. And I was like, actually, I quite like it. And I had to make a YouTube video thinking, oh God, I'm the first person in the world to have this game, and I'm going to say that I like it. And lots of people were looking forward to hearing what I thought on it. And then I think people realised that it was a much better game than they realised, and then more people started liking it, stuff like that. So at that time it was a half decent rally game. It was getting into the right direction for them. So it's the same with these guys.
Yeah, if you compare WRC 5 to the first one Milestone did, I think it was better in a number of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game, WRC5. So they, in that sense, they had a foundation. But 1 year is a very small amount of time to model hundreds of miles of road.
It's like you have to bear in mind it's a developer that hadn't made a rally game before.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
well,
it's huge.
they made that motorcycle club beforehand, which how can I put it delicately? It wasn't great, was it?
It was
So,
absolutely awful. I mean, I
yeah.
tried it out. I literally deleted the demo from my console. I was like, I do not want that taking up
Yeah,
hard
I
drive
mean,
space.
you know, they took a risk with the sort of switching the bikes, which I thought was interesting, but the execution sadly wasn't there. But you know, you got to commend them for trying to innovate in the sort of racing genre, but didn't quite pull it off, unfortunately.
I just hope the
No.
co-driver has a bit more personality in WRC6.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to say at this stage. I get the feeling that probably it'll be different, but not hugely different. I get the feeling that's going to be a thing that's going to take a bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, with all these things, it's a sort of a 5-year plan of improvements. So we'll just have to see how that evolves. But E3 wise, no, I think what do we have? We have WRC6, we have Gran Turismo, we have Forza Horizon 3 that was shown there. I think what we should talk about really is, as I say, new consoles. We've got the new Xbox One S, and I whacked a video up on that, and I guess, and of course the Scorpio as well, and of course the Neo wasn't shown.
No.
The Scorpio is going to be Microsoft's new, all-powerful console. It will be backwardly compatible with Xbox One, accessories, games, everything. One of the things moving this forward is, of course, Ultra HD Blu-rays are coming out onto the market as well. So they can't play in current Blu-ray players, so you need the new standard of HDMI and Blu-ray that does 18 gigabit a second, blah blah. So they want to make that the new format, which will mean a lot more data. I think it's been strange how the announcements have been worked out, but for Microsoft to make an announcement of a new console over a year away, because this was a consumer show, not a developer show.
I mean, should they have announced the Xbox One S on its own, and then later the Scorpio? Yes,
I think that would have been better. I think Microsoft, they've brought forward this announcement, Scorpio, to head off the Neo, and I think Sony, whatever Sony say, if the Neo's due out this year, Sony have looked at the hardware and thought, oh no, we want to take it back and possibly consider improving the hardware.
You feel like the PlayStation have got the upper hand by pulling out, basically.
Well, the thing is, it's given them options. I mean, they could delay the Neo a bit. There's no rush. They haven't given a release date for it. They could upgrade the Neo now to match the Scorpio. Very difficult to say. I mean, what Sony are going to do there? According to Digital Foundry, they're saying it's too far down the line and they can't do anything about it now. But I don't know, as it's not been shown and it's not being manufactured yet. I don't see why they can't make some changes and delay it by a few more months.
So we may actually end up seeing 7 teraflops.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think the Neo is still going to be less powerful because it is still, for them, it's a definite in-between machine.
Yeah.
But Microsoft have done the right thing in making a more powerful console. That's going to be their selling point. So we'll wait and see. But 4K gaming is a real headache for developers because we want better quality graphics. Well, the problem is that 4K uses up all the quality. So it's actually a 6 teraflop console will still struggle in running current games at 4K 60 frames per second. There's a massive amount of data on the screen. So I mean, we're in this kind of transitional era. I'm sure in like 5 years from now we'll probably have consoles that can easily run everything on 4K and improve the graphics again, but it's then we'll probably reach another sort of slow period where development's very slow for 6-7 years as they try and improve.
It's a bit longer to produce with all these extra requirements, aren't they?
Well, it's a pain because it means we have to buy new consoles all the time as well, and it's unknown what the price is going to be, but these consoles will be expensive. So it'll be interesting to see. So the Microsoft conference really, they like you say, it was unusual to see these announcements. I was just going to say the Project Scorpio. In the past, they would announce like an XNA conference or something like that, which would be for developers only. This was a consumer-facing conference,
yeah.
and it just seemed very unusual to make an announcement like that, especially given they've just announced the Xbox One S, because it doesn't do their own console any good. It's like, hey, we've announced a new console, and don't buy this because we've got a new one coming next year.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a very interesting strategy to open with the announcement of the Xbox One S and then close it with the Project Scorpio, because, like you said, it's kind of putting people off.
It's almost made obsolete straight away, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It comes out.
This will be out of date within a year.
Yeah, it's coming out in what, 2 months? Internal power supply. Wow, finally. But the retail price is, as I understand it, is £349. So I mean, to me that sounds quite a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of money, but it's. I don't have all the specs in front of me now. It may do 4K Blu-ray, so
it does. I think. Yeah, I think you have to factor in the cost of that. I think it's a bit like when the it's a bit like when the PS3 first launched, and it was it had a Blu-ray player.
But I mean, who's going to buy it? Existing Xbox One players going to buy this, or?
I guess for a lot of people, the problem is if you want a Blu-ray player right now that's Ultra HD, it's £699 just for the Blu-ray player. In terms of Blu-ray players, it's actually quite a cheap Blu-ray player. So I think they're trying to get on the Blu-ray market there.
Much like the PS2 was at launch, wasn't it? It was
DVD.
DVD, yeah.
Again, the PS3 did the same thing with Blu-ray.
Yeah.
When that first came out.
Exactly. So the media.
That was very expensive at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And the media side is very important for them in terms of making sure they have that media on there. Yeah. So I think that's why the Xbox. So I don't know whether the Xbox.
I don't think enough people are really interested in 4K Blu-ray yet. That's the trouble.
You know, it's you'll be surprised. It's an expanding. There's always the home entertainment fans that want it, and they've got to get it in the market because they know that in 2 or 3 years' time they'll phase out the Xbox One standard model. That'll be replaced by a cheaper Xbox One S, and of course the new Xbox as well. So they really want to phase this new Blu-ray, and you'll start seeing more of that. But it'll take a few years. I mean, Blu-ray took a good 6 years to actually phase in, and DVD is still the more popular format.
Let's say DVD still outsells Blu-ray.
Yeah, because it's still so cheap, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess its other main selling point was the HDR capability.
Yeah, that's video and gaming, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, because of the new 4K TVs, it's just matching that standard, which will make everything look a lot better. But the new HDR TVs are very expensive at the moment, so £2,000. It's quite pricey to get into. I'll wait until the prices go down. I'm quite happy with my 1080p TV at the moment, but I'm sure I'll upgrade in the next sort of few years. See how that gets on. So what else, Martin? We had the Xbox conference, PlayStation conference, lots of cool games shown. I was going to do my shortened version of all the conferences this year, but other things came up, and I've still got them. I don't know if so. This is a call out to people listening. If they want to see the shorter versions, do let me know. I put the Microsoft one up, and it didn't get many views. And I thought to myself, well, given the fact that it took me 12 hours of solid editing to make that video, I didn't know if it was worth doing the other ones or not. But certainly, I enjoyed putting those together. But they are a massive amount of work.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's was quite an interesting conference compared to Microsoft, because it was just literally trailer after trailer after trailer, without any real, not much talking in between it, which I think paid off. Actually, I have to say. They had a really strong lineup.
Yeah, it was a great lineup of games. It was no nonsense. I actually really enjoyed their conference because it just got on with it, and it showed how impressive some of their games are. And some of their games were amazing. Yeah. I mean, Dad of War and Days Gone, both look amazing. So I think some great games coming out. I
was really impressed with what was it called, Days Gone, the sort of post-apocalyptic
open world sort of bikes game. I love the look. Very impressive. Looking forward to that. And also the indie title. What's that indie title? The scary one. We Happy Few. Yeah. That impressed me.
We Happy Few looks really good. And
it's sort of like a BioShock sort of steampunk style, isn't it?
Yeah, and the game Inside that was mentioned at the Xbox conference has been reviewed today, and it's getting like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's the best exclusive game as far as I know, the highest rated exclusive Xbox game.
Yeah, amazing. Some of the reviews coming out on that today. So that was the main things. Racing-wise, though, what else was there at E3? Moto Racer 4 wasn't shown, but apparently it's going to be compatible with VR.
Yeah, we had the new trailer which showed the sort of reflection of gameplay in the helmet, so we didn't, it was about as teaser-ish as it gets. Yeah, so we didn't get a good look at that, but apparently, that's going to be for the PlayStation VR. That's out on October, so we haven't got a massive amount of time to wait. I imagine we'll see more at Gamescom, so it'd be interesting to see how that one turns out.
It's a great year for biking games, has to be said.
Yeah, we got today was the release of the release date of Road Redemption, I believe, was revealed today. So that's 2 bike games coming out very within a week of each other or a few days of each other. So
plus Ride 2. Around the same time.
Yeah.
Being Master will release it on the same day, I expect.
Yeah. It'll probably happen like that. No, I reckon Ride 2 will come out probably the same day as Gran Turismo Sport, just to keep on doing that. Really, it's going to happen. I know it. It's going to happen.
Probably.
So, oh well.
One of my main highlights in E3 was it wasn't at the show, but in terms of new trailers being released, was Redout, the kind of Wipeout-inspired futuristic. So that looked brilliant, I thought.
Loving the trailer.
I've
watched that trailer a few times, and I love it. I can't wait to play the game. It looks really cool. Really.
That's out in September.
Yep. Looking forward
all
to that.
formats, I believe, as well.
Yeah, we still don't know a great deal about it, though. There's not a lot of details on it.
No,
we know it's not like a low polygon style sort of environment, but with sort of the latest sort of lighting and stuff. But we don't know a great deal. We don't know about the different crafts and all different environments and stuff like that. We don't know much at all, really.
No, I mean, it was announced about over a year ago, I think, with a trailer. Then they redid the trailer for some reason, and then that was about it.
It wouldn't surprise me if that got delayed the way things are going. Who knows?
Yeah, September does seem a bit optimistic, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it is given the game so quiet and there's no information. But I will catch up with the developer and find out what's going on there with that. See if we can get some more information. But either way, I think of all the futuristic racers, it's the one that's captured me the most.
Yeah.
A nice combination of Wipeout and F-Zero and Extreme G and everything else all sort of bundled into one, really.
So they're still putting their own spin on it as well. It's not. It looks like its own right.
That's right.
Yeah, much like the Wii U racer. The name escapes me now.
Acrostorm, is it?
No, it's already been released.
The Fast Racing Neo.
That's the one. Yeah, it had its own sort of niche, didn't it? It carved out its own sort of gameplay elements. So.
Yeah, I mean, a waste that the game wasn't released on another format. Absolute waste, because I would so be loving playing that on a PS4 right
awesome.
Now. And what they managed to get out of the Wii U was amazing, really. I mean, visually it looked fantastic. 60 frames, nice detail, really fast. Loved the idea behind it, but unfortunately not released on another format. So
nobody got to play it.
I don't have a Wii U, so yeah, they get to play it. So their audience is tiny compared to the potential if they converted it to Xbox One and PS4.
It is essentially the Wii U's answer to F-Zero, from what we see.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in the future we might see a port across, but I wouldn't hold a breath,
I would if I was them.
No, it
makes good business sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. We'll look into that one, guys, and see if we can find out a bit more on that. Of course, Assetto Corsa was shown on the PS4. Got that up there. Just a bit on that. Obviously, I filmed some content a while ago. We've got a little bit of content. Me in a car. Unfortunately, the gameplay footage to go with it's been a bit of a pain, but I should have an Assetto Corsa video ready soon. I've been saying that for ages, but they're just bits and pieces of clips that we have of the PS4 version action, but there's not really much to see. I mean, the PS4 version looks identical to the PC version, so if you play the PC version, pretty much what you get on the PS4. Personally, I am impressed with it, though. I'm impressed with what they're managing to achieve. A very small team, and I think if you look at the Nordschleife video, you can see it's looking really good at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, the Nordschleifer is a big one, isn't it? We're going to see it also in Ride 2, which really surprised me, because it's like a massive undertaking to put that track into a game, and I can't wait to drive on it in Assetto Corsa with a sort of realistic handling that's not sort of over complicated, a sort of simplistic but realistic sort of approach to car handling, which I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to get this on console because, again, it's the myth of simulation being too difficult for anybody to drive, but it's a really balanced car model. So yeah, I think it's looking good. And with the Porsche announcement as well recently, fantastic announcement for them to get the Porsche license, and that's sort of shaking things up a bit to be the first people to announce that.
Yeah, and shortly after, Project Cars apparently is going to be getting the Porsche license as well. We've got an announcement coming soon, according to Ian Bell. So, it's a good time, for the racing genre.
Yeah,
Porsche's almost making a comeback to racing games, basically. Basically,
yeah. I mean, the brand's been in limbo, hasn't it? While it's been stuck in Need for Speed. I mean, that was a dreadful idea. It wasn't even the Porsche buyer's market, so that's what's really strange about that. But something you've been on, Martin, is the Burnout developers, Beyond Cars. That's all over now, it seems.
Yes, it's been scrapped apparently, which very disappointed with that. Although I can't say I'm surprised because it's, again, like you said, it's just been in limbo for the past 2 years.
Having said that, they only recently came out and said it was in development, and then a few days later, we scrapped it. So I
remember posting on our Facebook page recently, like, do not despair, Beyond Cars has not been cancelled, and about 2 days later, oh wait, actually it has, sorry.
Yeah. Because initially they said it was still in development, but albeit with some probably fundamental changes. So obviously things didn't work out. I don't know whether maybe it was a VR thing, maybe it was too early to get the technology in place for it to play as they wished, and maybe we'll see it again as VR progresses in the future, because I think it has a lot of promise.
Probably some of the team are working on the Star Wars Battlefront VR thing.
They've moved on. There's a couple of Star Wars titles. Yeah, I bet you guys are looking very much forward to that.
Oh yes,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I am. I mean, Star Wars on PlayStation VR is going to be awesome. So I look forward to. I mean, PlayStation VR. I'm really liking some of what I'm seeing coming through in terms of the games at the moment. It's by far the best supported VR format. So there's great things coming through there. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
It does you do kind of think when we saw the VR video, obviously it showed a space battle when they were space battles were conspicuously absent in Battlefront. Were they waiting for the VR?
I don't know. I think personally that the ships handle terribly in Star Wars Battlefront. They really are terrible. I mean, the TIE fighters are, they've somehow merged FPS controls and flight controls together.
I know what you mean.
And they're just awful. I can't get the precision. Yeah, if I practiced them, I could fly the ships. I'm not saying I can't do it, but they're horrible and not fun to control. And quite often you end up just flying into the ground by accident. I found the ships to be very imprecise, and I think that perhaps they're going to go with a whole new flight control system for the flight section. But it's something for me that's been a weakness since sort of Battlefield Modern Combat. It was all good on the Xbox One, then after that, on the Xbox 360, and then after that, for me, I just haven't liked the controls much since.
No, I mean, we'll probably end up with a single level VR demo, and then they'll they'll have full-on space battles in the sequel perhaps next year.
Yeah, potentially awesome.
But what other news do we have? I mean, yes, Beyond Cars was scrapped. Very disappointed with that. So Criterion instead of working on Star Wars Battlefront. But I think if we want a true Burnout game, by the sounds of it,
Free Fields. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It sounds as if they are going to make a spiritual successor to Burnout 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Dangerous Golf, wasn't it?
Yes.
It had sort of mixed reviews, so I was a little bit worried about whether they would have the funds.
Yeah, it's kind of hanging on the success of that game.
Yeah.
By the sound of it.
But hopefully, we'll get our sort of Burnout successor, because I think it's crying out for a game like that.
There is such a gap in the market at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's surprising, isn't it? I think if it's a decent title, I think they'll sell like hotcakes, basically.
We still have Wreckfest, I suppose, but that's taking an eternity to come out.
Oh, I mean, that was we had the first screens, didn't we, back in August of last year? So we're getting on for almost a year now, and we've had no news whatsoever. So who knows? That could be mid 2017 or late 2017, the way things are going.
Yeah, I mean, I've been driving Wreckfest since 2013.
Same here. I remember getting the early access.
Yeah, in fact, you're
very early access. They should have called it.
Yeah, and it was like, well, it was good fun at the time. I was really enjoying it, and then they did an upgrade to the graphics system sometime in, I don't know, late 2014, and I just completely went off it. It didn't run as well. They changed the handling, they changed the look. And I suddenly didn't like it anymore, and I've just not played it much since.
I think they have taken steps to try and improve it. In fact, they have actually just launched a new update with some new tracks. But I haven't tried them yet.
No, I haven't tried them yet.
The project's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's got real potential. I mean, as I say, when it first came out, I loved playing it. I thought it was brilliant fun. And then, they made all these changes, and I just went off it. So I'll go back on it again soon. Also, my PC runs really loud and makes lots of noise when I play it, and I don't know why. But that's just a side point. But, it's one of those things.
It was quite well optimised at first, then with time, I think it's gotten worse and worse.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
It ran really well on my PC originally.
Yeah. Same for myself. Yeah, they've sort of, whatever they've done has slowed it down, and it's just less stable and less polished compared to where it was. And I absolutely loved it when it first came out. But yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see how that develops. I'll get back on it and give it a run, make a video on it, see how it's progressed. Now, the next big game coming up after this, of course, we've got Carmageddon coming soon, guys.
Yeah,
that's one for you guys to look forward to. I know you're both Carmageddon fans. I stick to the racetrack racing and let you guys get on with that one. Running lots of people over. I look forward to seeing your videos as to how you get on with that. For me, also, we've got coming soon is F1 2016.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how that's developed this year. Feedback on the video we had on the channel was surprisingly popular. And yeah, I mean, it's got new sort of braking. You get smoke on the inside tire and stuff like that, but you really can't tell from the video what it handles like. I mean, that guy was using assists apparently, so I mean, you just can't tell what it's going to handle like when you play the final game. But I do look forward to testing the final game and seeing how it handles at some point, or perhaps you guys testing it and let me know. But it needs a big step forward in terms of the career mode this year and making for more longevity.
Yeah, that's it. Is it just going to be another incremental update? Yeah,
I think that's the thing. What's going to be.
That's the danger.
Yeah, that is always the danger, and it'll be interesting to see. I hope it's more exciting than the sport is right now, because F1 is just so dull for me.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years properly.
No, I mean, for me, obviously I'm a keen F1 fan, but at the same time, since the new rules in 2014, it really has been a bore fest, really, of just Mercedes winning every race, 50-50 between Nico and Lewis, and no one else may be on the track. I mean, yeah, the odd other car might win if Mercedes have problems, but in out-and-out racing, there isn't any racing there. It's just one following the other, basically. So, yeah, we'll see new rules in F1 next year, new cars, wider cars. I don't know if Codemasters still have the license, but I think next year it'll be good to see another radical change to the series and to see how that's converted as well.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see.
So F1 2016, the date's apparently 19th of August. We're going to see that released. And then we have the Assetto Corsa at the end of August, sometime around 26th to the 28th, something like that. And then, of course, a couple of weeks later, we have Forza Horizon. So it's all going to get quite busy very early. It's almost like the Christmas season is kicking off earlier this year.
Yeah, and we're expecting WRC6 somewhere around that sort of area as well.
At the moment, that's expected in October. Mid-October for WRC6. That's good because you've got WRC6 in mid-October, and then you've
GT Sport in November.
Mid-November, yeah, and Ride Somewhere is going to come out in there as well. I've got this feeling that it's come out the same day as GT Sport.
It's going to happen.
So. Yeah, it's it's probably going to happen. So yeah, I mean, there's all that to look forward to. but yeah, E3. I think the only thing I thought it was good seeing all the conferences this year. I thought the only thing I wasn't so keen on was the amount of swearing, especially in the Ubisoft conference. I don't know what it is, but I'm somebody who sees the conferences and says, well, this is a family affair, really. It shouldn't be viewable by anyone. It's viewable on TV in some places. I don't think they need all that, really.
They try to be sort of edgy, don't they? They do it every year.
Yeah.
It just comes across a little bit lame and a little bit, unnecessary.
Exactly. I mean, when I play video games, I don't swear on this channel at all. I can tell you right now, when I play video games, I swear like a trooper. When I crash, when I'm doing like a racing video, and I'm just going around the final corner and I smack off into the bushes, and I have to re-record that whole video again. There's going to be swearing. I'm not going to hide that. I swear my head off when I play video games. I was doing that VR video in Project Cars, and I was having cars smack into me. AI doing stupid things on that Rouen track, and it was so frustrating for me. I'm trying to figure out how to dodge them, but we don't have it on the channel, and because I like everybody to appreciate what we do on the channel, and I think it's the same for the conferences. I think sometimes it's not always the best image. I think to have that, you don't need it. You're showing an 18 certificate game, great. You still don't need all that sort of style to it. I think that's like you say, trying to be edgy, trying too hard.
What would you say was the best conference then out of all of them?
Oh, PlayStation by a mile for me. It was just heavy hitter after heavy hitter. There was no fluff in between, like the Microsoft conference. We had the Minecraft stuff and all that nonsense. But for me, the PlayStation was. I mean, it was as good as I've ever seen, pretty much. It was just one.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I mean, it was like literally bam, 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 bit of music, da-di-da, person comes on stage, goes, woohoo, so they look down at the orchestra and walk off again. And I thought the whole
the orchestra, actually, now you mentioned that was quite a nice touch.
Yeah, I thought the orchestra was great, I thought it fit really well.
They played like those have been some of the games that were on show.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It worked really well.
Brilliant, really good conference, and it got on with business, like you say. That Minecraft bit in the Microsoft conference was excruciating. It was this is awful. It really is old school bad. And
it was a bit of a gimmicky conference in places, and I suppose Ubisoft's conference was just Ubisoft, wasn't it, all the way through?
Yeah. I mean, it was Ubisoft. They didn't show anything too crazy this year. They kept it reasonably sane. Obviously, they were showing South Park, so that meant swearing. They can't really help that.
I did quite enjoy that, I must admit.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got whatever you got. Ghost Recon, isn't it? The new Ghost Recon.
Quite promising.
It does. It uses a Crew-style map system, and the biggest map they've ever produced, so bigger than the Crew. Lots of potential.
Well, that's true. I was hoping to see some sort of new content from the Crew in Ubisoft's conference.
Yeah, we all were. I think we were all expecting something from them in the driving genre, but perhaps they've decided to try something new and start from the ground up, perhaps a
sequel?
Completely new region, maybe set in Japan, like that,
We all thought there'd be an announcement for an expansion pack, like a map expansion or something for the Crew, which would have made sense.
Yeah, we know they've got a long-term plan with it, so we know something's coming. It's just a question of when, isn't it?
I would love the Japanese version where you have Tokyo and you can race around the cities, but where you can go into the mountains around Akina and do drifting. I would love. I think Tokyo has and Japan has a huge amount of opportunity if they could build the right map with the right physics model and everything. And I think with the progress they made in the Crew add-on, I think the potential there.
Maybe they'll add a new country every year until the whole world's in the game.
Well, I don't know. I think because it takes so long to model a country, it needs to be sold as a standalone game. But I think
the Crew itself,
if you already own the Crew, I think you should get something as a bonus if you already own the Crew, and I think that's the way to sort of sell that. It's okay to pay for a full price game when you know you're getting a full price product.
It's interesting because they recently gave away the Crew with games with gold Microsoft subscribers, and that really sort of added the suspicion that they was going to announce an expansion, but sadly.
It's usually
strangely absent. Yeah,
it is, isn't it? I mean, we were expecting some more there, or maybe even a new driver game from
Oh, please,
love to see that.
please.
Yeah, it would be lovely, wouldn't it? We would love that, but unfortunately, no. And it's a shame. I'd love to see a remastered Driver San Francisco come out. I'd love that.
We got Driver Speedboat Paradise instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that as a mobile title, wasn't it?
That's the one.
Now, obviously, no Need for Speed this year. Need for Speed will wait till next year. It's interesting. So there's a lot happening in driving, but there's a lot to look forward to in the future. I mean, you'll have Project Cars 2 in whenever 18 months' time at the earliest and stuff like that. I mean, there are big titles, and they're getting better and better, the racing games. So we've come a long way. I think Assetto Corsa, Forza Horizon 3, Gran Turismo Sport, Ride 2, Formula 1. There's so much to look forward to in the second half of the year. WRC 6. It's a really, it's a big year for racing games.
And don't forget Farming Simulator 17 as well.
Well, exactly. Farming Simulator 17. You want that automotive goodness. There's nothing like a big old tractor, and it's good. I think the only thing that was disappointing is that there was no excitement. There was nothing being shown. When you get a new surprise, like Gran Turismo 5 was first shown, it was like, oh my god, trailer, amazing excitement. There was no buzz at E3 for me this year because it was like, yawn, Forza Horizon 3, we know that's coming. There's nothing new, nothing surprising me, nothing exciting in that sense. And I think it's a shame that we're not getting. There's not really many big announcements now. We know there's going to be F1 2017, WRC 7, and
we had a naked Norman Reedus. That was a bit of a surprise.
We did actually. Yeah,
that was a surprise.
Yeah, Kojima throwing in his unusual odd trailer. Yeah, I mean, interesting to see what the game's going to be. We'll wait and see on that one at the moment. It's got the fans thinking. But no, other than that, the show, that was the sort of main elements, wasn't it, really, this year? I think so. Looking forward now, for us guys, it's on to Carmageddon.
Yeah, and it's got 90 power-ups, doesn't it? So that's plenty of, looks like it's going to be plenty of fun. Again, visually, it doesn't look fantastic, but that's sort of missing the point, really, isn't it, with Carmageddon games? You jump in, you have a bit of fun, and you jump out again.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? I think it's what the genre needs at the moment, in a way, because it is.
Yeah, it's all getting a bit serious
type out there.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, that's why we need that Burnout, isn't it? We need just crazy
exactly.
I mean, that's what I want. I think there's so much serious lapping all the time in all these different games, trying to get the physics model right, bickering with who has the best physics and all that sort of stuff. It'd be nice to just get a bit more fun, a bit more colourful arcade-style gaming out there. That still really works within its own world.
Because after all, that's what sort of got us into the genre in the first place, wasn't it? It was the arcade races, like the Ridge Racers and things like that. And we sort of craved that. And we just recent years, it's all gone a bit quiet. We've had the Need for Speeds, but they've largely been disappointing in recent years. So
yeah, Need for Speed it's a genre that's lost its way for me. Yeah, carry on, mine.
I think the last good arcade racer this year has to be Trackmania. I think that is just what the genre needed.
It is. It's a crime we haven't had any videos of it on the channel. Martin, sort it out. Basically, I mean, it is a lot of fun to play, and I should put more time into it, and I have enjoyed what I've played of it. So Trackmania is a game that deserved a bit more sort of awareness amongst people. Really.
And Tabletop Racing, for me, I thought was a great little title,
Yeah.
It's another one that was a lot of fun.
A world exclusive here at Team VVV. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody cared back then, but then they cared when it was on PSN. Yeah, I mean, a lot of fun, a fun little game. It doesn't all need to be super serious. There's one thing about Team VVV as a channel. We like to break it up between all the different racing games, and we will continue to do so because it's nice to have your serious racing, but also fun little arcade games as well. And I think so many people are, just, I don't know, they just get, they somehow think it's all about big simulators and all that sort of stuff. You say,
they sort of pigeonhole themselves, don't they?
It's about racing passion.
Yeah. It's nice to balance out the serious with the more fun stuff.
Actually, if we stick with arcade races, there was actually a new release last week. Well, I say new. We had the release of the disc release of Rocket League, which interestingly debuted in 6th place in the UK chart. I mean, who doesn't already own Rocket League? Let's be honest.
But then it's got fans, isn't it? And sometimes it's nice just to have a piece of it.
I think it's more because it came out later on the Xbox One than it did on PS4. Perhaps.
Yeah, I'm a big Rocket League fan. You know, it was my most played game last year by an absolute mile. It's a sort of game that I could play for hours and hours. I mean, it's getting a little bit not stale, but you know, I'm not spending as much time with it now at the moment. But incredible game. You know, I think what makes Rocket League so good is you know, you've got the incredibly smooth controls. You know, there's a lot of investment have gone in to sort of smoothing out those controls based, you know, off their predecessor, Supersonic, Acrobatic, something about the cars or the other, and
the most long-winded name for
yeah, I couldn't say it's a tongue twister, but yeah, the smooth controls for me is one, and the second big thing with it is the lack of time between races. You know, you're hardly waiting any time at all between your multiplayer races, and for those two reasons, you know, I couldn't stop playing it last year. It's a phenomenal game.
I think it's brilliant. It's one of those perfect pick up and play titles that you can just pick it up for 5 minutes, have a match, you're done.
In many ways, it's better than a FIFA title. I mean, I loved my FIFA as well, but you know, you get that sort of feeling of being in a team and, you know, everyone contributing for a common goal sort of thing, which, you know, you don't get as much in even a football game like FIFA. But Rocket League nails that element of teamwork. You know, whether you're playing 2v2, 3v3 or 2v2, it's awesome. It's addictive. It really is awesome.
I would say it's the most fun I've had online in a racing game since Drive of San Francisco.
Yeah.
With do you remember the tag events in that?
Yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah,
got a bit confusing at times, didn't it? But yeah, it's good fun.
For me, Rocket League is the best online racing game since that.
I can't disagree with that. That's spot on.
I think it says a lot for me to say I like it because I can't stand football.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of transcends football, doesn't it? It's like it's just fun. It's great game.
Yeah, it's nice when a little game like that comes out. I mean, you've been playing Trials lately, the Blood Dragon. Blood Dragon. That's a small game in the same way. How have you found that? Does it have much longevity?
No. It's not. Yeah, it's not the longest game, I would say. I think it's more accessible. I mean, I haven't played the other titles, but from what I've seen in gameplay videos and whatnot, for me, it felt much more sort of accessible. You know, mixed reviews at the moment, so sort of between 6s and 8s, it's very mixed. But I personally, it was my first sort of venture into the Trials world, and I enjoyed it very much.
I was really surprised by that game, I must admit. It was a very weird, a very strange choice of series to kind of mash up.
Yeah, it was the same. The Blood Dragon, they brought it to Far Cry 3, didn't they? It was this sort of weird, sort of Mickey take on old action films from the 80s and all that sort of weird stuff. All the sort of trippy colours and, you know, it added a lot of character to the games.
I've heard there's a lot of non-bike sections though, which aren't quite as.
Yeah, you got platforming sections, you got shooting. It's a strange one. It does also mix it up with the vehicles as well. So you get off your bike, you can get in this big sort of tank-like vehicle and bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, if you strictly sort of want to do the bike stuff, you know, it might not be the best Trials game for you.
Would you say the platforming sections are as bad as they say?
Yeah, they're terribly basic. I think they're a bit unnecessary, a bit, you know.
Fair enough. I love the Trials series personally. I think I've played most of them, at least since Trials HD. I didn't enjoy Trials Fusion quite as much compared to what was on before, Trials Evolution. I just think the futuristic setting just didn't quite work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I played the first two, but I haven't played the recent two. You know, I think in a way it was something that worked when it was quite basic. I mean, Trials HD came out as a massive surprise when it came out. I thought it looked rubbish when I first saw it. I thought, what's that? And then I played it, and I thought, wow, this is absolutely brilliant. It's so addictive. I found that restart button. You just seem to keep hitting it with your finger. Restart level. No, restart level. and you just get into it. So no,
The
that's a
Trackmania
shame.
has the same kind of appeal as well because it has an instant restart button just like that. I think Trials Evolution then really improved on Trials HD just with the sheer variety of environments, and it still wasn't quite gimmicky like it is a bit in Trials Fusion. Actually, I wish they'd make Trials Evolution backwards compatible with Xbox One.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. That's one game, the Trials games. I'm surprised, haven't been made.
I think they have with Trials HD.
Oh, they have with Trials HD, but not with Trials Evolution.
No.
That's interesting.
There's a really strange choice of games in general on the backwards compatible list, actually. I don't think any Forzas work. I don't think any Project Gothams work.
Oh, that's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, we'll see. That's a shame, actually. But no, as a game, it was a strange announcement at the show. It was weird to announce a game like that, as small as that, during E3 because it didn't do it any good. It just died without trace, and
you have to
the
wonder
put up on it weren't very popular. So
you have to wonder how much confidence they had in it as well to just announce it there and then in E3 and then release it.
None. I think they just thought, you know what, let's tell everyone about it at E3. Let's just let everyone know, sell it as much as we can without there being any reviews out there, and that was it. Yeah, it was just a secret thing to do. So yeah, we'll just wait and see on that. I was actually just going to point out a couple of games I am looking forward to trying. I'm looking forward to Battlefield 1 and also Titanfall 2. I'm a big fan of Titanfall. And I look forward to. I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I did put a Titanfall video up on VVV, and I did get quite good at it in the end as well. And it was a shame, I'd love to get back into that. So maybe I'll make some Titanfall video. I won't have any time. I know that already. I'll be stuck on Gran Turismo Sport doing. I'm probably. It depends. I might or might not. I might throw myself into Gran Turismo Sport and see if I can, just polish up some of those old skills and see if I can work my way up the ranking some of the way to see how I get on and get some other VV players. But we'll wait and see on that one.
No, I'm looking forward to Battlefield 1. I mean, I can't really say much about Titanfall. I've never played it, but long-time Battlefield fan here. Cannot wait for Battlefield 1. I still played Battlefield 4 today, 3 years on, which I think is a testament to its lasting appeal.
I remember when it came out, it was stunning visually. How does it hold up at the moment?
I think all things considered, it still holds up very well. I mean, the online matches obviously lack a little bit of polish compared to the single player, but overall, when you consider you've got 64-player matches and just the sheer amount of stuff going on, it's aged remarkably well, I would say. I still remember when I first played the single-player campaign being so blown away by that opening level, just the visuals.
Yeah.
Hardline I didn't get into quite as much, I have to admit.
I've played that briefly, wasn't impressed.
No, it has car stuff in it as well. It has car action in it.
It does, yeah.
Which I didn't really hold up very well, if I remember. You just drive around empty cities, just looking for something to do.
Yeah, it was on sale recently, actually. I think they're selling it for $5, something like that.
I was on the PlayStation Store the other day. Both 4 and Hardline are now $3.99 each.
Yeah, wow. But I just thought to myself, I just won't play them. I mean, I just don't have the time. I've got it on Xbox One, the Battlefield 4, and right now, obviously, I'm about Star Wars Battlefront, and I'll probably play Star Wars Battlefront until the other new games come out. Because of course, Star Wars Battlefront, the big problem is they're releasing all the DLC, and it's really splitting. It's going to split the audience more and more between the haves and have-nots. So
they basically released half a game and then released the second half.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did any of you try the Doom demo, by the way, just to see the graphics?
No.
I did.
You did. Martin did.
I finally played Doom.
Did you see the graphics?
I did, and then I went straight back to Uncharted 4.
Without the graphics. The graphics in Doom are amazing.
No, they are very good. I will admit, they are very good.
I love some 60 framesness. I mean, I'm all about that. That's one of the things in Ride 2 that I already know, riding the Nordschleife, is just that little bit less special when it's running at 30 frames.
That's true.
So I've got that demo to try, and I've also got Resident Evil 7 demo
that as well. I've got that as
check
well.
out.
I haven't tried it yet.
No, I haven't tried it yet. Just getting around to it, isn't it?
Now, just to get...
Of course, Alan, we got Star Wars Force Awakens this week as well, the Lego one.
Yeah, lovely. No, I'll avoid that. But back to racing. We've got to get back to racing stuff. So I'm sure we're boring some of the listeners now. I was going to say I haven't been watching Top Gear. I've been hearing about the drama. Martin, have you seen it all? How's it progressing?
Of course, I've been keeping up with it. Yeah. Why is Top Gear dead to you now, Alan?
No, it's not dead.
Is Top Gear dead to you now?
It was on the same time as the Forza, same time as the football about a week ago. And this week I just didn't have the time to really watch. I see clips of it, but I don't have time to watch all of it sometimes. And then I keep meaning to an iPlayer, and then I miss it, and then that's that basically. But it does seem like they're making progress, and it seems like they've brought the other presenters in now more, and that's adding more to the show. So.
We've had 3 episodes, I think, since we last did a podcast, and I'd say it's been a marked improvement actually. Mainly because there's less Chris Evans in it.
I noticed.
Popular opinion.
In the last episode, number 5, I noticed they seem to be getting through the guests a bit quicker with the sort of first car, best car segment, which is always handy. Yeah.
Really dragged before. And I still think having 2 guests doesn't really work. Unless they're somehow connected. But usually
having said that, episode 3, where we had Kevin Hart and Anthony Joshua, the boxer, I thought that was quite entertaining, but it still sort of dragged on. But
it went on too long, but
it was still entertaining. But you just need to cut it down a bit, and they just seem to be doing it now. So
I was just going to say, maybe rather than doing one person then the other, they could do their race side by side on camera, so you wouldn't know who's faster than who because they could cut it together to make them look pretty even until you get to the end, and it gives it a bit more competition. I think sometimes it's just so blatant that one person is so much quicker than the other person. I have been impressed though by the speed of some of the celebrities in that car. They've really been hammering it round. So
and that raises another question with the new track, with dirt sections, because the last episode it was pretty wet, and basically the 2 guests were sort of gunning against each other because the conditions were so wet they could only really go up against each other and none of the sort of dry lap stuff. So it does raise a question of what they're going to do in the future if they get these situations all the time, because we want to see it will compete in the top sort of times, and if it's very wet, then they can't really compare laps.
I think they need to get more celebrities that gel together.
Yeah.
As well. Like the first episode, you had Gordon Ramsay and who was it again?
That actor guy.
The actor, forget. Yeah. The one in Social Network.
That's it.
I forget his name, but that was such an odd pairing. It just didn't really work for me.
They've all been pretty odd, hasn't they? So.
To an extent, you're always going to get that because it depends on who's got a film coming out, stuff like that.
That's it.
Then
why not just have one celebrity in that case?
Yeah, well, I think one celebrity always works on Top Gear. I don't think they needed to do 2, and I still don't think they need to do 2. So I think a nice short interview, bit about your movie, what you're doing, get you in the car. I don't think we always need to know about all the details about their own cars either. I don't think that's always as important. Because I think sometimes
and the audience participation is so forced as well.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So that's coming along. Logo was announced today for the Grand Tour, as revealed by Jeremy today. Have you seen it?
No. I have. Very, very retro looking.
Yeah. So they've highlighted the letters GT. I noticed.
It's named after my car.
Really.
Feels like.
So it's like GT now is the logo essentially, rather than the Grand Tour. So we'll have to wait and see how.
It's obviously a dig at Top Gear.
Yeah.
A very blatant one.
Well, it is. It's interesting. But, other than that, guys, I think that's about it this week, actually. Yeah. So E3 sort of pretty much all covered. Racing games we're looking forward to. Wow, we've got on that. So you look out for our Carmageddon content coming soon. We'll be trying to catch up with all the other racing titles as well. I've still got my Assetto Corsa video to do. Do let me know if you'd like to see the remaining conferences shortened, or if it's too late for those. And what about you guys? Anything else to add today?
I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it for us.
Well, Martin, I'll let you finish off then.
Yeah, but that's it from us now. Thanks as ever for listening. We really appreciate your comments, and see you again next time. If there's anything you want us to cover, just let us know, and we'll get on to that. So thanks a lot for listening, and see you next time.